It is Thursday. It is trying to be summer today. We've had a run of disgusting weather here in the UK. It's been a bit like winter, but the sun is trying to come through. So I have nothing planned for today other than a completely selfish bit of sewing. I have cut out a Tilly and the Buttons Stevie dress, and I am going to sew that together. So I've just made myself a nice cup of tea, and I've got a scrambled egg bagel. I'm going to sit down and eat that, and then I'm going to set my sewing area up for the day. So this is my space for the day. This is my conservatory table. As you can see, the sun's trying to come out, which is quite nice. But now I need to keep my fingers crossed that it's actually not going to try and be too summery, because then it gets too hot to sew in here, and that would scupper my plans completely. So I think I'd best get going. The first thing I need to do is get my machine and my ironing board and everything else set up. There is a huge pile of rubbish at the end of this table. It's actually not rubbish, it's creativity in a box. It's basically little Miss Mac's craft supplies that I've just decided to put in a box and leave at the end of the table, and then that way she can get it all out, work on it, and when she's done we can just shove it back in the box. And that's where it stayed for the summer holidays because, well, just because. So off I go. Is all cut out and in one of these little IKEA zip-up bags, because I absolutely love to use those. So I've got my instructions. I haven't actually read them through at all yet. I'm relying on the fact that Tilly patterns are great, and I've never had a problem with them before. We shall see. I have cut everything out, or that's a lie actually. Robin, our lovely summer intern, cut everything out for me, but yesterday I did sit and overlock all of the pattern pieces, because that meant that I didn't have to get my overlocker out today. I just needed to get my sewing machine out. So I just need to thread my machine, and then I'm going to have a little flick through the instructions. I don't think I've got any blues that are quite right for this. I actually think navy. Navy's probably the best match. What do we reckon? Oh, it's too sunny for you to see, I think. Navy. Not right. Not right. Yeah, navy. To be fair, I think it's more Prussian blue, actually. Right, I need some... No, I don't need some new bobbins. I've got one. Okay. Right. So, while I thread my machine, let me talk to you about summer holidays. Or L'Oreal, this will make you laugh, vacations. So we call them holidays, we don't call them vacations, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going anywhere. This is a holiday because the kids are on holiday from school. So there are 6 weeks that we get in the UK where the children aren't at school in the summer. And for those 6 weeks, us parents have to work out what we are going to do with said children. Those of us who work full-time, unfortunately, for us, our kids tend to be in summer holiday camps and go to childminders and grandparents and things like that. I'm quite fortunate because I can work my own hours. Over the holidays, I've sort of stepped back from the amount of teaching that I've been doing. Oh, I forgot my needle threader had broken. Must get that fixed. I've stepped back from the amount of teaching that I'm doing so that I can spend a bit more time at home with the kids and doing stuff. Although, real mum guilt, I haven't taken them anywhere or done anything. We've not had any amazing days out. We've just chilled out. And I know some mums are just, you know, they're at the beach one day, the zoo the next, but I just don't have the energy for that, and this isn't going to work. One sec, sharp scissors. So I confess that my children are currently upstairs. Thomas is playing online with one of his friends. They're playing some game or another. Izzy is actually watching The Worst Witch on Netflix, which she loves. She's really into that at the moment. And they're both still in their pyjamas and they're actually having breakfast in bed. And to me, I think that's a real treat to be able to sit in your pyjamas and have breakfast in bed. Well, your mother sews downstairs. So, in answer to any questions, that's where my children are today. And I'm sure they'll come and interrupt us at some point. So, let's have a look. What do we need to do first? I'm so naughty, I just skim instructions. Interface, we've already done that. We're not having a pocket, so that's alright. So, stay stitching first of all. Okay, I can cope with that. So I'm going to reach to my phone because I did ask some people if they want on Instagram and on my Facebook to see if they had any questions for me today, and I have had a couple. They're all on Instagram, so let me just pull them up. Scroll down. Oh, they're all from the same person. They're all from the Crafty Expat. So, and I have put a post on Facebook, so I might get some more questions later on as well. So these are all sewing related, all dressmaking related. So the first one is favourite 5 patterns of all time. Ooh. Do you know, I don't really know. I suppose you could say that your favourite 5 patterns of all time need to be the things that you've made the most, because obviously that's a popular something that you've done, and for me, in which case that would be Tilly and the Buttons Cocoa, because I've made that loads of times. Kitschy Coo Lady Skater Dress, because I've made that loads of times, but actually I wouldn't say that was one of my favourites. It's certainly not one of my favourites to wear, but I do like making it. Probably now my roughly sleeved top and trousers, because that's just so comfortable and so easy to make. And I think the kilo wrap dress has definitely got to be up there, because that's one of my go-tos. I'm really quite limited because actually, believe it or not, I haven't actually made a great deal. I do tend to stick to what I'm safe with, if that makes sense. So I just tend to make the things that I know are easy, that aren't going to cause me any problems, and I don't tend to push myself out of my comfort zone. Even with these patterns, you know, I've not made these before, but Tilly is a known entity. She's a known quantity. You know, I know that they're going to be good patterns. I know that I'm not going to have a problem with them because I never have before, and she writes such clear instructions. So yeah, I guess I need to push myself out of my comfort zone a bit more before I can answer that question. I did really enjoy making my ginger jeans. They were good fun, but I'm not sure that I would enjoy making them on my own, or whether it was just the fact that we made it as a class with Charlotte and it was so much fun. It might not be as fun when I do it by myself. We'll see if I ever get those ones I cut out sewn together. Right. So yeah, I'm rubbish at answering questions like that. Let's have a look. What other ones have we got? Top tips for pattern cutting, particularly marks like pockets that are not on the edge of the fabric. Top tips for pattern cutting. Basically, I'm lazy. I don't cut my own patterns, but I think what you mean by that is top tips for cutting out and marking commercial patterns. So yeah, like pocket markings and things. I love a friction pen. That would always be my marking of choice if my fabric's light enough that you can see through. I tend to just put a pin through the hole or through the dot on the pattern and then draw on the back with a friction pen, and then I'll take the pattern off, put the pin through the other side and draw again with a friction pen. If it's a dark fabric, then I'll do that as well, but I'll use like a coloured pattern marking pencil. They're like the crayon ones that wash out. Or if it's really super fiddly and I know that I'm going to lose it, then I cannot do tailor's tacks for love nor money. I can't get them to work. But I will actually just take a piece of cotton and I will just take it through the fabric and just tie it in a knot, so that it's really nice and secure and it's not going anywhere, and then I can just cut it away later. Right, I'm going to do this yoke and I'll come back to you. Might help if I put some water in the iron. And that is a bottled water, by the way, before you think it is. And I'm fancying giving my iron a treat. It's just normal tap water that I put into a Evian bottle in my fridge for drinking. Right, that part done. Ooh, tea. For neckties, fold each tie. Lengthways. Right side together and press the fold. No, don't reach from the pattern, Claire. I'm good at doing that. I read the pattern and I think, don't know, I might do it my way. But normally it goes wrong. So I need to learn from my mistakes. I often get comments about what irons and things I'm using, and at work I've got a big steam generator iron, but this is just a Phillips iron. I think I bought it from Tesco's or somewhere a few years ago. It's called the Easy Speed Plus, and it's really nice. It doesn't scale up. I don't iron at home, like ever. I have an ironing lady who does my ironing for me. But yeah, obviously I have an iron at home for emergency situations, but more than anything just for when I sew at home. So that just lives in a little box and it's really good. Look, this has got sun faded being in the conservatory, but it comes with its own little wooden box, well, cardboard box, but it's insulated with some kind of insulation material. That means when you put it away, you can put it away hot, and it won't burn the box, but it's just cooling down in a safe environment, which is really good if you've got children and you don't want to leave your iron out and leave it unattended while it cools down. So I've had this now easily, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So you can still get them. If you can, I'll put a link in the description down below. Right, I'm going to sew my neckties. Right, so let's have a look, see what the other questions were. Top 5 go-to items for any dressmaker's toolbox. Ooh, definitely Wonder Clips. Definitely Wonder Clips. They are amazing. Top 5, gosh, there's so many. Hang on a minute. Let me just put this on silent. I've got one of those groups that's been set up in Messenger that it's just everyone's pinging you, and it's driving me nuts this morning. Yeah, Wonder Clips, friction pens, definitely. I haven't tried it for zips in clothes yet, but I did do a video earlier on a couple of weeks ago about the Wonder Tape, which is amazing for putting in zips in items, so like bags and purses and things. I haven't tried it for clothes yet, but rest assured I will do. But I suspect I'm going to love it just as much for that. So yeah, probably Wonder Tape. So that's 3 things. A good iron, definitely a good iron. Steam is your friend when you are dressmaking, or when you're making anything actually. So a really good steam iron, either a steam generator or one like this. This is really good, it belts the steam out. In fact, I've had to open the door, it's got quite warm in here. So good iron, friction pens, Wonder Clips, Wonder Tape, that's 4. Ooh, they're both different sizes. so many things, isn't there? There's so many things that you can have. I'm just trying to think of my absolute must-haves. Absolute must-haves. I might have to come back to you on that fifth one, because I'm thinking a good sewing machine, good fabric scissors, pins, but none of those are absolutely essentials. Although I suppose a really good sewing machine that you're really happy with and that you really know your way around, it definitely helps. Because I know if I was sewing with my old manual machine, as much as I love her, which is still around there, my grandma's machine, as much as I love her, I've not got my cut button, I've not got my speed, I've not got my needle up and down. Just the little things that just make your sewing a little quicker and a little easier and mean that you can just crack on with it. You've got your top loading bobbin, you're not faffing around sort of in the undercarriage trying to thread it all up. So yeah, I think push the boat out if you can and get yourself a decent sewing machine. That's probably number 5. Right, I'm going to attach these ties, and then I've got a neck facing to do, which looks like I'm going to have to sew fiddly little curves, so I'll be back with you a bit later. I got a bit carried away and didn't hit record. So I've done all the facings, I've put the ties in. I'm really pleased with this. It's a really nice construction. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised, because I do love Tilly's garments, but I just really like the finishing on it, and it is really simple even for beginners, but it looks really, really professional. So I'm just about to sew up under the arms and at the cuffs and then hem it, and it will be done. But my bobbin, I've been playing bobbin roulette. I played it while I was doing the top stitching around the outside, which was a bit scary. And I'm not going to risk it running out as I go down the side seams. In fact, oh my gosh, look at this. There was 4 inches maybe of thread left on my bobbin. Top sewing tip when you are sewing, keep a pot or a bowl next to you at the sewing machine that you can put all your loose threads and loose ends and cuttings into, because then you've not got it sculling all over your workspace, and it's not going to get caught up in your sewing machine and cause jams. So my top tip for the day, I hope you find it useful. And I always have to look at the pictures on the top of my machine to remind me which way to wind my bobbin. And there we go. This machine seems really slow compared to the machines that we've got at the studio. It seems to take forever, but hey ho. Yeah. So I haven't got any more questions. Nobody has commented on my Facebook post. Nobody has commented anymore on my Instagram post. So obviously none of you are interested in me and finding out what I'm doing. So I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Oh, I keep forgetting this blooming needle threader doesn't work. I do hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, then maybe when I do another one, or if you have, let me know and I will do another one. And maybe next time I'll get a few more questions to answer. I'm quite happy to answer anything within reason. It doesn't have to be sewing related. I'm happy to just chat about me and what I do and who I am and family and all sorts. So do feel free to ask away. So let me know if you have enjoyed this video and watched me struggle to just thread a needle. I have been to the opticians recently and I do need new glasses, but I couldn't find any frames that I liked, so I am currently soldering through with my old glasses. But my eyesight is getting progressively worse as I get older, and I am really struggling now to thread needles, which is a little embarrassing actually, because I'm not that old. But anyway, so I'm going to just finish this off now. I'll come back to you when it's finished and show it to you, because it would be rude of me not to. And if I should get any more questions pop through on my Instagram or my Facebook in the meantime, I will pop back and and answer them for you. So I've sewed the sleeves on, or the cuffs on, and realised that I really need to trim back these seam allowances to be able to turn these over neatly. And then they're going to actually be raw on the inside, which I don't like. I don't want to cut off all my overlocking, so I am actually going to get my overlocker back out and just go around those cuffs, which seems frustrating because the whole thing's been overlocked. But unless I was to top stitch it down, but then I quite like the loose finish. It does mean hand stitching, but I do quite like it. So yes, I'm going to be good. I'm going to get the overlocker out. I'm going to go around those sleeves. But it's now lunchtime. It's 12 o'clock and I've actually got the lovely Tim coming for a quick workout. So I'm going to pause the proceedings, have my workout, get the overlocker out, get those sleeves done when I get back. So I'll see you soon.
Lots of jobs. So, like, can I do one? So, you know the job that I'm doing. How can I even get all the rubbish out your car if I don't have keys?
I'm going to do it now. I'm going to give you the keys now. As neat as it could do, and I don't want it rolling forward when I'm wearing it and showing the overlocking. Wouldn't have been so bad if I'd done blue overlocking. It's probably just me being really picky. What do we think? So, that's the sleeves just pressed. They're supposed to have little catch stitches here, but you can kind of see inside. I think when I'm wearing it you won't see inside, but you can see the overlocking where it's turned on the inside. But because it's got this visible top stitching here and all along the back, I don't think it would be an issue to top stitch these sleeves down. I'm gonna do it.
Mommy, you can lock the car.
Okay, thanks. Just put that in the kitchen and then I'll deal with it.
Okay. That was not fun.
That's better. So I didn't need to overlock it after all. I could have just trimmed it all back because now all of my raw edges are encased in my nice little top stitched cuff, but I think that looks much nicer. I'm not going to risk it all peeking forward. I'm really pleased with that. That's going to look really nice. Really nice finish. There we go. Right, now all we need to do is hem it, and I'm going to just refer to the instructions to see what hem Tilly recommends. Both the top and the dress have a 2.5 1-inch hem allowance. Try it on, shouldn't it, if you prefer. Finish the raw edge of the hem. I've done that already. Press it under 1 inch to the wrong side, pin in place and drop stitch. Lovely. Nice and easy. Ta-da! All done. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. I don't know how long that took me. Another half an hour, started about 10. 2.5 hours to stitch that together from start to finish. Obviously cutting out I didn't do, but it would take about an hour. I think it does look really short, but I'm going to go and try it on. Okie dokie, so I'm going to make a little belt to cinch it in because I think it needs it, but it is so short, like ridiculously short. I'm sure the one I tried on of Elspeth's wasn't this short. I am going to have to put a band around the bottom. Let me show you. Zoom you down. Oh, my battery's about to die. Yeah, look how short it is. There's my knees. It's like right up here. If I come around here, you're going to see my bottom. It's a little bit insane. Anyway, my battery light's flashing. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want me to do another sew along with me video, please let me know in the comments down below. I will show you this in my next what I've been sewing video with a band added to the bottom for a bit of extra length. Thank you for watching. I will see you again soon. Bye!